Yeah, you also were on President Clinton's race board nationally.
Yes. President Clinton, when he was governor of Arkansas, and I became very good friends. We shared a lot of the same ideas, and one of the things that we both were concerned about was increasing racial reconciliation, racial understanding in our two states. Our two states are very similar, with similar histories. So after his election to his second term as President of the United States, I talked to him about establishing a commission to look at race in America today. And so there was established by executive order the Presidential Advisory Board on Race, and he asked me to serve on that. He appointed the distinguished African-American historian Dr. John Hope Franklin to be the chairman of that board. And we met for almost 2 years, going all over this country. I went to 26 states personally, meeting with people of every conceivable background, racial background, ethnic background, religious background, in South Los Angeles, in South Chicago, in Miami, in Mount Bio, Mississippi, in the Hispanic communities of the Southwest, in the Native American communities, talking to people and finding out what their feelings were about race relations in America. I came out of that experience greatly encouraged by what I saw and heard. We have come such a long way in breaking down the old blatant forms of segregation and discrimination. And I think we can take a lot of satisfaction from that. At the same time, we also found that we still had some problems, not just in the South, but all over the country. As a matter of fact, I think we came to the conclusion that maybe some other sections of the country have more problems than we do now. And I think a lot of the rest of the country can learn from places like Mississippi, where we've come face to face with our situation, and we have made the adjustments and attitudes, and in opening opportunities for people regardless of their background, their racial background. That was the conclusion we came to out of that we still have to work at it, though. And this is one of the things that led to the creation of the William Winter Institute for Racial Reconciliation at the University of Mississippi, where that organization now is creating the opportunities for people to come together, work out their differences, work out their problems, going into communities such as in Neshoba County, and creating coalitions of biracial, multiracial people, and realizing that, you know, regardless of what we look like, we all member the same race. We're all human beings. We're all members of the human race. And we want about the same thing. And if we will concentrate on the commonality of our interests, on the things we agree on, the things we can share aspirations about, then a lot of these other things will fade away into pretty unimportant aspects of our lives. And that's what the commission that President Clinton set up was designed to do, to bring about a better understanding of our common interests, our common humanity.
Now, you were very active during the Civil Rights era. How was that for you? Was it scary at all?
Well, I grew up in Mississippi, in the old Mississippi, where almost every white person gave lip service to the idea of racial segregation. It was almost an accepted fact, an accepted way of life. And nobody did much talking about it. And then we suddenly came to the realization, largely I think as a result of our experiences in World War II, where we came together to fight a war and win a world war. And then the veterans came home from that war, black veterans and white veterans, and realized that we had fought to create a world in which fairness and justice and equity would apply to everyone. We had defeated Hitler, who was the worst racist, I suppose, that ever came along. We defeated Hitler. And so after World War II, there was a recognition on the part of so many people that this business of racial segregation was not going to be sustainable. But it took about 20 years to work through that. And it was not easy, because there were a lot of people, a lot of white people, maybe most white people, who thought the sun wouldn't come up in the morning if we did away with racial segregation. They were afraid. They were literally afraid. And that's why it was so important, I think, for the leadership, the civil rights leadership, to come along and free us all. I told Myrlie Evers, Mrs. Myrlie Evers, Medgar Evers' widow, I told her at a dinner we had over to government,